In this video, we're going to expand a bit more on my last video, which was all about the 3 steps of what I would consider the basic principles of web scraping. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pretty simple basic web scraping script and we're going to analyze it a bit more and then split it up into functions to make it a bit more readable and usable. And I'm also going to dive into a bit into pagination in this as well. Okay, so this is our web scraping script right here. So we can see right away that I'm using requests and beautiful soup and pandas to do the lifting for me, and I have custom headers for a user agent. If you're interested in learning a bit more about the user agent and what it does, I have a video on that on my channel which I will link to below or somewhere on the screen now. The website that we're going to be using for this demonstration is actually a WooCommerce e-com site, and it's a wine website. So if we show you this now, we can see right away that we've got a standard e-com site with products, and it actually says 99 products per page, which is quite unusual. Normally they're a bit less than that. And we've got lots of information. So this scraper is nice and basic. We're just going to take the name and the price. So if we look through our script real quick, we can see that we've got custom headers, as I said. We've got our open list, we've got our URL, and then we have our code, which is r is equal to request.get. The URL, and we're passing in the headers. Then we're using beautiful soup to pass it. We're finding our products and then looping through each product on that page. I had to use a little try and accept on this one just so because we found some errors because we were searching for the actual start name of the class as opposed to a actual product class. I will show you that real quick. So if I just come here, we can see that when we hover over this product, the div class is all this long name. So what I did was I just shortened it to the first part and I found it. But unfortunately that meant there were some other divs with this class that matched. So we just needed to do a try and accept so we didn't pick those up because it was going to fail on those because we weren't going to find the information within them. After that, we loop through all the products, we put them into a data frame and we export them to CSV. So if I was to run that, we would get this, which I just did a minute ago, and we can see we've got the name and the price. And it is 100 lines, which is 99 products because we have the name and the price as the headers. Okay, so what can we do with this to really to improve it and make it a bit better? So if we really focus on the 3 steps, we can have a look here and we can say, well, this is our URL, this is our request, and this is putting it the soup variable and starting to save the HTML that we can pass. So this part right here is actually step 1, and that's the request part of the request part of the script. Make that a little bit bigger. So, and then in this part, in this loop, what we're actually doing is we are taking the soup variable, the HTML that we've downloaded, and then we are passing it to find the information that we want. So this is definitely step 2, and this is the pass. And then obviously down here, we can see that we are storing it in our data frame and then exporting it to a CSV, CSV being a really common human readable format. So we can say this is definitely step 3, which is the output. So that's all very well, but how can we make this a bit better? And also notice that we're not dealing with any pagination here, so we can definitely make this a lot tidier. The thing that I would do is I would turn each one of these steps into its own function. So we can then call those functions and run our script a lot easier and quicker, and it's going to make it a lot easier to read as well and understand what's going on. So in this part, I'm going to call the first function, which is we use with def. If you're not too familiar with Python functions, follow along anyway. Hopefully this will make it a bit clearer. So I'm going to call this one, we'll just call it step 1 like this. And this is our function. And now in here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay the foundations for working with the pagination. So I'm going to put an X. Now the X is going to symbolize a number that we're going to give it in which to determine the page number. You'll understand that as we go a bit further along. We need our colon then, and as we hit enter, we see we need to indent. So we're going to indent that and we're going to put that up there. At the end of our function, we need to return something. When we call this function, we're actually going to be doing exactly what we've seen here, but we need to return something out of it. So we're going to return, and then we're going to return soup, because we've called the soup variable here and we're storing this information in it. By returning that out of the function, we can save that into a variable further down the line. I'm also going to turn the URL into an f string by putting f beforehand. And if we see where the page number is, we can then put 2 curly brackets, we can put our X in there, and that means we're going to get this X is going to go into this gap. Now if we go back to the website, we can see that I don't actually have the page number there, but if I copy this back again and go to there, and I put, instead of RX, if I put page 2, hopefully it will load up the second page for us, and we should get 100 to 199 results. Okay, so it's 198, which makes sense. So we can see right away that the pagination works exactly like we would hope it would. Now let's move on to step 2, which is our pass. So we're going to again create another function, and we're going to call this one pass, just like this. And we are going to say that we're going to want a variable to put into that. Now I'm calling it soup, which is absolutely fine. Just remember, whatever we store the output of this, which is soup, into, we need to put that variable into there. I'm just doing this so we understand what's going on. When we get to the end of it, I'll explain it and you'll see it working, and hopefully that will help. Again, we need to indent this. Now we don't actually need to return anything from this function, because as it runs, we're going to be appending the products to our empty list as we go along. So we don't need to return anything from it. So the third step is the output. Now we can create a function for that as well. So we can call def, and we're going to call this one output. And we're not going to put a argument in there or a variable because we don't need to. With this function, it's going to call the wine list, which is going to then put that into a data frame, and then we're going to export that to CSV. So those are our 3 steps and our 3 functions. The request function, which is going to take in a X variable, which we're going to say is a number, because that's going to then be replaced by the X in our URL. It's going to do exactly what we did before. It's going to download the HTML for us, and it's going to return it into a variable which we will save later on. Then when we put that into our pass function, it's going to run through all the products it finds on that page. So you can see now the pagination is working, is coming together, because if we run our own little loop with this in, which I'll show you in a minute, we'll get multiple pages. And then right at the very end, we're going to do our output, which is putting it into a data frame and exporting it to CSV. So I'm actually just going to collapse these real quick. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the interactive Python terminal within VS Code, and we're going to then play with our functions to make sure that they all work properly before we actually put anything down. So our function basically tells our script what to do. So it's like a repeatable bit of code. So instead of having to loop through and then have loops and loops and loops, we can just call our functions back. So if I go Python 3 for me in this case, but whatever you would type in normally to get your Python REPL, I'm going to do -i, and then I'm going to call this up, which I've called 3 steps recording. So now we've got our little terminal thing here. So if we open up our request function, we can see that we need to give it X, which we need to give it a number. So if we do HTML is equal to step 1, and I'm going to say page number 1. So we're going to let that run. And what that's going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to get page number 1, and it's going to save all of the soup, which we would normally call it, into this HTML variable. And then we can use that and we can put it into our pass. So let's close that down and expand this one. So now we can see with our pass function that we're asking for a soup variable. Now we didn't call it that in this example down here, we've called it HTML. So we want to do pass, and we want to pass our HTML. And when we run this, it's going to go out and get all of the information from the HTML that we've specified, so the name and the price. You can see that was really quick. Now the third one is the output, and we can see that we're going to take the information from the wine list and we're going to export it to CSV. So now if I run output, hopefully, if I close this, we should get a new wine list. Now this is going to look exactly the same because I've run it exactly the same data. But this is where it's going to get much better, because what we can actually do is now we know each of those now that we know each of those functions works, we can exit out of this, and underneath each one of these we can start to work, and we can loop through, call each function in the right order, to do the pagination for us. So to do that, I'm going to do for x in range. Now what that's going to do is it's going to loop through every number in the range that we specify. So we want 1 and 4. Now the reason why we want 4 is because we want 1, 2 and 3. So if we do 1 to 3, we only get 1 and 2. But we do 1 to 4 because we get 1, 2, 3, up to 4, but not including. So it's a simple loop. Now we do we called it step 1, and in here we're going to put x because we're going for x in range 1 to 4. So for every loop through, x becomes 1, then 2, then 3. Okay, and then we do pass HTML, and then we do, let's come out of our loop, and then we do output. But what we need to do in here is we actually need to call this HTML as equal to, like we did down here in our terminal. So every time we go through this, it saves it to this variable that we can then use. If you don't put this in, all it does would return the HTML code, but not save it in anything, so we can't use it in our next function. Now what I like to do is put some print statements in, otherwise it'll be working in the background and we won't see what's happening. So I'm going to do print, and we'll just say getting page, and we can actually put in another f string, which is always nice. And then we can put here print passing, and then underneath output we can do print saved to CSV. Right, so let's clear that up, and now hopefully when we run this we should get no errors. We should get getting page 1, passing, page 2 and page 3. Now the way I've done this is that I know that there are only 3 pages. To sort of run through as many as you can, what you'd want to do is you want to do a higher number, so 1 to 999, and then find out what happens when you reach the end of the pages on the actual website, and then do maybe a try and accept, or maybe some kind of error handling. So when you get to page 4 that doesn't exist, in this example it says the title is no products, or not acceptable, or not available, you could build that in. But because we know how many pages there are, I've done it this way. So that's worked, and we've saved it to CSV. If I open up the wine list right now, we can see that we have 262 lines, which is equal to 261 results. Now, to expand on this even further, what we could be doing is we could get the link for each page, the link for each product, sorry, and we could use that to then save into a list, and we could then loop through those links. But hopefully this has given you a much better idea of the 3 steps, how we can work it, and how you can actually use functions to make your scrapers a lot more easier to write and read. Hopefully this has been useful to you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've got anything to say. If you like this, comment, subscribe, consider liking. I've got lots more web scraping content with Python on my channel, and lots more to come. Cheers. Bye.